afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, to another Propagandacaster with me, your host, Imperial Dane. As the meta continues to evolve, there's certainly a strategy that's sort of slowly appearing. That is the Tier 4 rush. Yes, indeed. We moved on for Tier 3. Well, it's probably some still rushing Tier 3, but I also got Tier 4 rushes into the mix, which again is certainly interesting. At least from a cast perspective, I mean, it just means again there's more styles of play a variant player can adopt to, and of course also means there's more things for the allies to have to worry about. And of course try to counter, of course, strategies and all that evolving. That's all, very neat and very interesting. But what is, the Tier 4 rush so far? And of course this is so far. We'll have to see how it evolves. Essentially the Tier 4 rush, as the name involves you rushing to Tier 4, basically going Tier 1, Tier 2. You skip Tier 3 this time around, and then you push as fast as possible then for Tier 4 on the back of a reasonably heavy Tier 1, Tier 2 build. Usually you go for several light vehicles to sort of help deal with this. The newly buffed 2-2 certainly helping this quite a bit in many ways. And on top of that, of course, you usually go for mobile defense to give you a Puma, because usually your opponent will try and rush out light vehicles to counter this, since Wehrmacht light vehicles tend to be vulnerable to enemy light vehicles. And this regard, the Puma then tends to be the usual follow-up in their strategy to ensure if your opponent goes for the T-70, the AC, or the Strat, you don't get completely crumbled over. And then you sort of based on the back of that, maybe with a pack 40s and Pentagon, depending on takes, you then try to push 4 Tier 4, and then you usually rush out Sturmpanzer 4 or Panther, depending on the situation. And I mean, in 2 vs 2, generally you're gonna have to go for a Panther first, because usually in resources it's not gonna be that advantageous. In which case, you do push for the Sturmpanzer, your opponent actually has any counters to it, you're gonna be in a lot of trouble. Whereas Tier 1, or sort of 1 vs 1, you can rush out a Sturmpanzer 4 depending on the situation. So that's sort of some of the basics of the Tier 4 rush. Obviously, again, to the extent it requires your opponent not being prepared for, and again, it is rather new. And obviously, sort of people more sort of catch on to it. I mean, they're going to sort of come up more counter strategies. Again, more light vehicle counters like Guardsmen, for example, getting a bunch of the good off field guns. And this regard, I mean, our friend here going for the Special Rifle Command initially, and you're not, getting ready for the light vehicle in that sense, has rather left an opening here for Vanassin to push hard with his light vehicles. Of course, having light vehicle counters or mines, of course, are very important sort of elements here, sort of any way to disrupt the Tier 4 strategy. And of course, that's something you have to be mindful of. Like your opponent, catch up with light vehicles, deals with them, your strategy can very quickly fall apart. You can then begin pushing in hard bang, in which case you're going to be the one, rolling back there in your territory, controlling, more importantly, fuel. Again, the Tier 4 rush does require you getting a lot of fuel to push ahead with, and of course that's going to be another part of it. Fuel disruption, fuel harassment, of course. Part of the strategy is not just going for light vehicles, actually looking to constantly disrupt your opponent's fuel so he can't match you tech-wise as easily as you normally would like to. And of course you try to protect your own fuel as well. By doing these two things, again, pushing light vehicles, controlling some kind of map control, but again also trying to look to gain as much of a fuel edge. You can that way, in many ways, sort of slowly gain ahead, pushing for Tier 4 and ensuring your opponent doesn't have a lot of counters to it, initially at least. Of course, depending on how well you execute, of course, there's still going to be some time for your opponent to slow down and build up. But done correctly, you can usually sort of have a bit of a lead there with your Sturmpanzer, Panther, or whatever you want to throw at the enemy. So I mean, again, for the opponent, it's going to be much more down to actually control the fuel. In this regard, Caesar, he's also, I think, committing too much to the center, not enough in the fuel. I mean, again, if you put more emphasis on the fuel point, you'd be able to much more easily derail Vanassin's Tier 4 rush here so far. I mean, again, you make it hard for him to just go for the light vehicle and just take up very, very, very fast. Though again, that's also going to be part of it. You kind of have to tech fast. Again, it tends to be sort of one thing players always struggle with is actually the tech fast bit. It's one of the issues with Tier 3 rushes. A lot of players just sucked at pressing the tech buttons and actually get up there very, very fast and actually building up the structure. So I mean, that's also going to be an obviously very important thing in actually keeping up the pace. But also, again, fuel control, very important. Otherwise, aggressive play and using your light vehicles aggressively, so that way you keep your opponent on the back foot as much as possible, avoiding mines, of course, avoiding any sort of serious obstacles in the form of light vehicle counters, like again, Guardsmen, Bazooka Men, anti-tank riflemen, armored cars of whatever kind that can sort of deal with your armored cars and flamethrower attacks better. And so on, of course, in that regard, do it in reverse, and usually have the key to actually disrupting this kind of strategy. Again, aggressive fuel pressure, mines, lots of light vehicle counters, while also some infantry to keep up with their infantry as well, and usually can you sort of that way slow down and gain yourself enough an advantage to push back with. In this regard, here Caesar looks somewhat set to be able to push out tanks ahead of an Aston. So those are some things I think very much worth keeping in mind when dealing either wanting to utilize the tier 4 rush strategy or trying to fight against it. It's very much a matchup that is incredibly, depending on the fuel. And of course, in this regard, Caesar's overemphasis on the center of the victory point is not helping him a lot. And again, as I've said many times before, your tanks don't run on central victory points, they run on fuel. In this regard, Caesar is basically showing he can't get out of counter to punish von Asten for this strategy, and similarly he's showing von Asten's getting a lot of fuel to actually able to execute his strategy. Much more aggressive. But again, he needs to press the button. Press the button, von Asten. So I think that essentially covers the most of the tier 4 rush strategy. Again, fuel dependent, very much the matchup here, really important. So if you guess incorrectly here on the matchup, and again you don't focus on the fuel, generally you always should focus on the fuel in companies too, you're gonna get punished. You're gonna get punished bad. So that's really important to keep in mind. And of course, if you can sort of deal with the light vehicles, the faster you can do so, the better as well. So there you have it, the tier 4 strategy. I mean, actually, it starts something really happening in companies too for like almost ever. Like there was a point there was the Panthers were so good it was just you should go for it, but now it's still tricky, but still it's actually there. Otherwise, I mean, tier 4 rush strategies were always something companies run, and now it seems like we're trending here to companies too. So with this, you should hopefully again have a better chance of executing it, and also a better chance of countering it if again remember the key assets. Fuel. Deny the other bastards as much fuel as possible, while again trying to for like vehicle counters and pushing out your own arm as fast as possible in the process. So again, hope for this video helped. If you subscribe, like, share, comment. If you like what I do, consider donating or pledging on Patreon. Links in the video description. This is Imperial saying cheers and see you all another time for another video. Bye.